What policies do you guys support Vice President Harris? Never met anyone so against Kennedy. I mean, Kennedy is an intermediate that's pretty open-minded. What about
What do you think about
9/11?
9/11? Yes! Let's go, boys! Let's go!
Lane.
Lane.
I knew a kid named Lane in high school. I hated him.
They're always...
Yeah, right.
Lane,
Something
it's
about
time
Lane.
to redeem... You gotta redeem the Lane kind, you know?
You don't like my name?
It's not your name, it's just the type.
The people
type.
attached
The
to
typing of
Lane.
the name?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, so you guys are, I guess, pro-Trump.
What gave it away?
No.
I'm somewhat pro-Trump, but I was originally going to vote for Kennedy, so I guess we could still do some form of debate.
Just read the slide out loud, okay?
Not redeeming Lanes.
Yeah.
Why?
It says you
Previous.
can't love America and vote Trump.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You can't love America and vote for Trump. In other words, you can't say you love what this country stands for and vote for somebody who's restricting freedoms, who's restricting one's ability
so
to
you're
vote and practice and
anti-Trump,
participate
yeah.
in government. There you go.
I
Next, they'll be
honestly-
learning
I
how to
didn't-
walk.
Wheels just to
I
keep
didn't even
on
see the writing
turning.
up there. I just seen the
Rolling.
picture of
No.
Donald
Well, you
Trump.
saw it, you just didn't comprehend.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't. I
okay. We
didn't
got it. We're there.
comprehend.
We're there. We're good. All right. So yeah.
Oh, shoot.
All right.
So you guys are pro-Kamala.
I don't know who Kamala
Kamala.
is, but if it's Kamala you're referring to, then yes.
What did I say?
Kamala, it's Kamala.
Kamala?
Kamala. Like Pamela.
Vanessa, join. I mean, I fuck with your friends, but damn, Gina.
Kamala. Kamala. Isn't it like the
Kamala.
same thing? It's just like the way the syllables are...
Nope. Kamala adds an apostrophe where it's not necessary.
I'm just going to call her Harris out of respect.
Yeah, Vice President Harris.
Vice President Harris.
That's
What
good.
Future
policies,
President Madame Harris.
what policies do you guys support Vice President Harris?
Expanding and making permanent the child tax credit, a $6,000 tax credit for newborn babies, universal pre-K, universal child care, the home buyers tax credit, universal affordable housing, adding 3 million more units.
What is the oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought.
No
the
problem.
the pre-K or child care, what did you just say?
Universal pre-K and child care.
Yeah, what is that? I'm not familiar.
So that applied towards Americans making below $200,000 a year as universal pre-K for all 4-year-olds going into school.
I think that's great.
Yeah, me too.
I also like the $25,000 housing for first-time home buyers. I think that's a great
Yeah.
thing as well.
I agree.
What do you guys think about a border wall in between Mexico and America?
It's ineffective.
We have one.
And useless.
Why
we
is
know
it
because we have one.
ineffective? Why is it ineffective?
Because a wall alone doesn't deter people from coming over, and it doesn't
would-
address root causes of migration, nor does it have the abilities to patrol where other people are coming from, which is by plane, which is by boat, which is by tunnel, which is by other pathways.
You don't think it would slow
Don't you
someone
think?
down?
Don't you think? No. Don't you think if a wall worked, subject matter experts would have looked at the 650 miles we currently have and go, "Oh, that's effective," and we would have data on that. But clearly, it's not. Trump
I
built
believe
more
it would
wall,
be-
and we had more people.
I believe a wall
Yeah.
would be more effective than open land or a small fence that's currently existing in some areas.
Yeah, the problem is it's all the way out in the middle of nowhere. If your argument was true, right, that building more wall would equate to less people coming here, then certainly the wall that Trump added, the 50 miles, would have stopped more people from coming here, correct?
just go around the 50 miles. It's got to be from one side to one side.
They just go around the 50 miles. So they just go around. They're going to walk 50 miles. It's 50 miles of new wall. They're going to walk 50 miles out of the way rather than going over a fence.
Someone just commented something. It says, undocumented immigrants come here legally and overstay their visas.
Yeah,
That is true.
About 60%,
That's a big
65%. Yeah.
That is a big problem.
I'm super confused. I'm super confused. So, why would someone walk 50 miles out of the way rather than go over a fence?
I guess you can go over a fence as well.
Right.
But
so
if you're
if it
going
were
over the
true,
fence-
we would have less, but we've built more wall and we have more people coming here. Your argument that, well, they still go around it doesn't make any sense because they have to walk further. So that doesn't logically follow. If there's more people coming here and more wall, you would look at it and go, okay, there's something else. Don't you think that if the wall worked, we would have just built, like, it would have been a success? We'd been like, okay, just go with that. Why would nobody's fighting it? Nobody's fighting it because we hate your guys' policy on immigration. We're fighting it because it's fucking stupid.
That's an interesting one I haven't heard. So, if you have a gate around your yard, and I have a perfect example of that. If you have a gate around your yard, that would keep people from just walking through your yard, right?
Does it though?
It does.
No.
So,
It
yes,
doesn't.
it definitely does. And here's my reason
So no
why.
one's ever hopped a gate.
I am a car dealer, okay?
I didn't ask, but okay.
Okay, I have a car lot, and I had several incidents of people just coming in the lot, cutting off catalytic converters, and just walking off with them. I had to put up a gate, and I put up a fence. I put up a fence all the way around
Okay.
the perimeter.
All right, but your car lot isn't 1,900 miles long.
Right, and also they go right down the road. And can you imagine what if there was, salvation on the other side? Would that stop people? What if you had how much money on the other side? What if you had a better life for your kids? Is that wall going to stop you? No.
But your argument was that walls don't work. What I'm saying is they do work to some extent.
Argument
it
is,
might not be.
My argument is that for this purpose,
70%.
walls. My argument is that for this purpose, walls don't work because it's not someone going there to steal a catalytic converter. It's someone fleeing gang violence so their 4-year-old doesn't get killed. That's what it is. It's not a matter of, oh, they're just moseying on in here because for no reason. And I find it ironic that they complain about. I find it super ironic. They complain about military-age men and then want to put up a wall to ensure that the only people that come here are military-age men.
All right. Those who are able-bodied and fit enough to climb such a thing.
Yeah, it's
Put electricity on that wall at will, so kill people, so murder people over trespassing.
So what's Harris's plan for the border?
Mentally disturbed.
It's actually on a plan.
Her plan is to add thousands more border agents.
Why should I invest any mental real estate into the border? Why should I give a fuck? Why should I care? That's what I'm asking you. Why should I care?
And we should care because these people are coming into our country.
Okay, and
why? That's not a reason. So people are coming into my state. They're coming into my city.
Some of them bring crime.
Why should I care?
Not to a higher rate than citizens do.
So then I should stop Republicans from Republican areas from moving to my state because they're more likely to commit crime than migrants are.
I believe that we should create an easier system for people to come here legally.
Okay, Republicans don't want that. Democrats want that. So you're advocating for what the Democrats want.
I just said I'm voting for was voting for Kennedy.
So you're saying you're right, but if you want that system, you would vote Democrat because the Republicans don't want that system. In fact, that's why DACA exists.
Kennedy supports that system.
I don't know what Kennedy supports. I'm not even sure he's the one in control. My best guess is the fucking brainworm behind the steering wheel here.
Someone mentioned me here.
What is... You really said brainworm take the wheel. Sorry. Not sorry.
I didn't even really
Brainworm
get that.
take the wheel. What?
I didn't really get the
Take
whole
it from my
brainworm.
oddly shaped hands. What? Okay, so Kennedy's out though. You're right. You're aware
Kennedy
of that,
is
right?
out. Unfortunately,
Cool.
He'll still be on. I think 30 or 40 ballots, or 30 or 40 states ballots. But yeah, he's pretty much out. He'll be on my ballot. I'll still probably will vote for him.
Okay, sorry, I just took my pizza out of the oven. Are we on Kennedy now?
Yes.
I don't know why.
Were we not just talking about the border? What the fuck happened in the span of 30 seconds with me putting on oven mitts and taking that shit out?
Life gets crazy, man.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it
Actually,
out too.
pizza's
I think
involved.
we're navigating this all together. Which reminds me, I want some pizza. Oh,
Pizza
is
sounds
Norse
nice
in
right now.
here? I went to Seebeck yesterday.
I really think that we should eliminate the entire government system and
See that
create
pizza?
something new that works.
What is that new?
I'm not sure, but what we have is not working. Capitalism is not working.
I agree. Donald Trump shouldn't be your candidate then.
Why is that?
Deregulating these monopolized businesses and adding more to their ability to disrupt our progress, to poison people, to upcharge, to price gouge, and get away
They're
with...
all poisoning us. Every
Right, so why make it easier? Why remove those regulations, those guardrails, those third-party agencies, those watchdogs?
Not understanding what you're asking.
You're saying they're poisoning us, they're making it harder, cost of living has gone up, so why make it easier for them to upcharge and kill people?
How are they making it easier?
By deregulating them, by removing the watchdogs, by consolidating power when it comes to who oversees these agencies, by giving them tax breaks.
I agree with you to an extent. I believe that there should be more regulation. But the problem with the regulation is if you regulate too much, these big companies will just start manufacturing in other countries where the tax breaks would be better.
The tax breaks aren't better there. And especially not how much you'd have to be paying for the employee wages.
Well, the employee wages would be much better.
I know.
Well, not better, but better for the big
They would be
guys.
better. You'd have to be but you'd have to be paying employees more in these other nations that they'd be moving to.
You'd be paying the employees less if they moved to China or Mexico or poor countries, North Korea, countries like that. And that's unfortunately what these large corporations are doing.
And they should be able to?
Absolutely not. But if you regulate them too much, it just pushes them to leave.
Right, but bad trade policy does that too.
Say that again?
Bad trade policy does that too.
That
Trump
does
oversaw
too.
thousands of jobs leaving the United States, thousands of manufacturing jobs, with his own trade policies, normalized trade policy with China that did exactly that.
Interesting.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Someone said, I'm gonna take Tommy's live down. It's weird.
Oh no.
Do you not have...
Ooh.
I don't know. Oh God, I can't believe this guy's wasting his time for something I don't fucking care about. Matter of fact, can you please take it down? I'm asking you. No, bring it back in. I'm dead ass. Can you take it down so I can take the rest of the night off? I would appreciate it so much. Can you actually do that for me? For real. Real talk.
I thought he was going to
Thank you for giving me the night off. Thank you for giving me the night off. It
My
does.
weekend
Yeah,
was
it's a slow night. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a crazy weekend. I
feel
did a
like I
lot
didn't
of
have a
stuff. If you
weekend.
could come back in and actually,
Yeah.
take it down. Oh, so you are paid from the DNC? Oh, you bet. They're so fucking clueless
Uh-huh.
as to how this works.
What was his account name?
If God walked me and go, I will give you $10 million
Ray.
and we make Trump president again, I would tell him to go fuck himself.
Carol
Because I could already
Wolf
do that
said
if I was a Republican.
please
If I could
read-
already do that if I were a Republican. If you don't have principles, you don't got nothing. There's a lot of people that would take that deal, and there's a lot of people that have. Nah. I'm
Yeah,
good.
God sounds more like a genie.
homie.
There's always some kind of fucking trick in the
But-
trade, isn't there?
Since God isn't funding this live, if you guys want to support the channel, there's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Alternatively, you can join the Patreons. It's the best way to support. You can sub on YouTube. You can sub on here. You can sub on Twitch with Prime. And if you guys are over on Twitch and you use your Prime and you have to re-up it, I'd appreciate it. But
Were you guys?
you could
Joe
be God.
Biden
You could
supporters?
be God and fund. Are you related to Chris Christie? Brady, it's not funny. It wasn't funny. It hasn't been funny. It's just weird.
I think it's pretty
Weird
funny.
behavior. You're weird with him. Yeah. Why don't you go
Were
talk
you
to each other on some
originally
weird
a Joe Biden supporter?
shit. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about the record inflation?
I think Donald Trump should have done better at managing the pandemic.
I agree with your pandemic thing. However, you got to think Trump was just listening to the people in his ear, like Anthony Fauci. Anthony Fauci was the one he was listening to. It was not created.
I don't want to talk about it. Nope. No, it was not. And I do not want to. That's why I asked you if you knew what RATG 13 is. And if you don't, you're not qualified to talk about where it came from.
Interesting.
I read several chapters of RFK's book. He's nuts.
You think Kennedy is nuts?
Yes. He's not qualified. He's not intelligent enough. And I can show you multiple different logical fallacies. In fact, in his book, he literally quotes something and cites a source. And the source has nothing to do with what he cites. Not a fucking thing. Nothing. And I can give you a logical fallacy in the book if you'd like.
I was just reading some comments. Someone said, bro, you run a wrecking dump. You don't know shit. That's pretty disrespectful.
What?
Someone said, you run a wrecking dump. You don't know shit.
Didn't the who was it? The Used. They did a song called "The Bird and the Worm," which I just think is like so true of RFK. The brain and the worm, but also he talks to birds because that's logical. That's actually probably
You're
the sanest
really
of all the
against-
things he does.
I've never met anyone so against Kennedy. I mean, Kennedy's an intermediate that's pretty open-minded.
No, he's not, and he's killed a lot of people with his disinformation.
Like,
What?
Like, you think he's
Yes,
responsible
his
for
disinformation.
killing
Yes,
people?
yes. His anti-vax information is dangerous. He does not understand science to any real degree. He bastardizes it like a conspiracy theory, and his people follow along. There's people that have died because of what he said. The same thing with Donald Trump. Donald Trump said stuff, and people died.
Do you believe the coronavirus saved lives or hurt people?
Yes. Nope. Save lives. And I can give you studies. I can give you one study showing 17,000 studies and meta-analysis showing that it did that very thing.
What about all the people that immediately after taking it?
Listen, I don't want to talk. I can't talk COVID because of YouTube, but there are a ton of resources. What's called meta-analysis. You should look up what's called the evidentiary hierarchy, and it'll show you meta-analysis, systematic analysis are the most stringent studies. And there's
Real quick.
one that I can show you from 2 months ago,
still
17,000
here?
studies.
Real quick, you said it's because of YouTube. Can you just clarify on that? Like, what
Yeah,
you
they'll
mean?
flag it. They're very, very strict on COVID. Very strict.
We're streaming this on YouTube as well.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So I like
I'm
to stay
about to
away from
stuff
that,
my
please.
face.
It's one of those things where I can go along for months and not say anything, but then I started this account up and they literally flagged me for saying one thing that I was just like, what the fuck? One
I'm
thing.
full-blown conspiracy theorist. So
Yeah, well, I can't talk about it, so.
can't talk about any conspiracy theories.
No, I can. I just can't talk about COVID.
Oh, okay. What about
What do you think about
9/11?
9/11?
I
Yes! Let's go, boys! Let's go!
finally we
All
could
right.
agree on something.
No, we're not agreeing on anything. We're debating it. I'm just glad we can debate this. Let's go. Jaden's checked out. Now, did you put out your milk? Now, quick question. Jaden every 9/10 puts out milk and cookies for George Bush. You do that?
That's weird.
Why?
That's weird.
Anyway, that's not weird. So wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I thought you were a conspiracy theorist on 9/11. What's your thoughts on that?
I believe it was an inside job. And I believe more than half of the things the government told us was not true.
So what was the inside job? What did they do? How did the towers fall?
Explosions underneath.
Okay, so how did they manage to rig up an entire building to explode with nobody, two buildings, with nobody noticing?
3 buildings.
Sorry, 3
Building
buildings
7.
with nobody noticing. Nobody noticing. I don't know how many people worked at each of those buildings, but it's
4 buildings
10,000
if we
plus
count
people.
the Pentagon.
Right, so how did they do that? Let's start with just the Twin Towers, though. How did that happen?
We'll never know. We will never know. And
how did
when
they
you
manage
go-
to get explosives? Hold on a second. How did they manage to get explosives into one of the tallest structures, one of the most secure structures, and one of the strongest structures, and have nobody notice and detonate both of them?
So when there's actually a really cool episode on this with Jesse Ventura, Conspiracy Theories. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that, but they went to the government facility that stored some of the metal from 9/11, from the Twin Towers, and they went there to do tests on some of the paint to see if it was fire resistant or if it would go up in flames. And when they went there, everything was in lockdown and you weren't able to see any parts of it.
Okay, that's not proof.
How did we get on 9/11?
That's why we'll never know.
I just sat down.
James just joined in. I just
What the
worked
fuck?
my way into this conversation. So I'm going to explain this to you, and hopefully this makes sense. There was fireproofing on the steel that was stripped off by the plane, but that fireproofing stripping off had caused structural integrity issues on the floors that had hit. And so as that plane began to heat up from the fuel and the fires spread, it created a problem with the inner and the outer columns, because there's basically these giant steel sheets that make up the floor. Okay, the outer column has a connection point that connects to those outer columns, and as they started to heat up, the outer columns started to bow, and when they would get far enough, they would snap. And that is what a lot of they were hearing in terms of explosions, was these giant, enormous buckles that are holding up tens of thousands of tons of pounds snapping, and just bop, and then the floor would fall, but it would fall in like little sections, and then until it got to the top, and then suddenly it's like poof, 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 the next one would fall down, and then those buckles would start to get stressed because of it, and then it would just fall, 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 and you have what's called global collapse or global progressive collapse, where the weight of the floor below cannot hold the weight up above, and as a result, it just goes into straight free fall.
What do you think about the Pentagon? A plane hitting the Pentagon?
There is literally a engine turbine on the ground in the footage of the first responders.
There's not, though. If you look at the footage from the Pentagon, if you look at the footage, when the plane
There's
hit
footage
the
that
Pentagon,
there's footage
there
of
was no plane.
footage of first responders. There's footage of first responders.
I haven't
There's also
seen the
people that
first
were there on the
responder
freeway.
footage. I've seen.
Yeah, there's literally a plane engine on the ground.
I've seen the clip from the Pentagon when the explosion happened on the side of the building, and there was no plane.
The plane hit the side of the building. It was off in the distance. But yes, I've seen multiple different reconstructions of this, and that's exactly, it was a plane. There was an engine on the ground in the field.
If you look at the video, that supposedly
Why would
catches
they?
the plane
Why would they need?
hitting the building? There's no plane. It's just an implosion.
Are you denying that no planes hit? Are you saying that no plane hit?
I'm denying that no plane hit the Pentagon.
Okay, so why, if they were able to steal a bunch of planes and fly them into buildings, why would they need to do that to the Pentagon? Also, why would Rumsfeld, who would have been in the middle of that and in the midst of that conspiracy, why was he there that day at the Pentagon when it got hit
and how
in the
come
building?
when they couldn't find
He was on the other
trillions
side.
of dollars, all the information of that missing money was in the room that got hit?
No, they did. No, they did. No, it's not. And that's not, no. You're talking about $2.9 trillion in unaccounted money. That's not what it is. It's $2.9 trillion from auditing about what department it got sent to. So every time they have their budget, about $500 billion through the Pentagon at that time, every time it changed hands, they add that into that total. So they're like, well, where did the money go? It disappeared. No, it didn't. They took $500 billion, dispersed it through all of the DOD and the military, and then it got counted multiple times because it's changed hands, and that racked up to $2.9 trillion. There's no, it's not unaccompanied money. And they didn't need to turn it over anyway, so there would have been no reason for them to do that. It's not like they were like, oh, we're going to have to turn this over because the court forced us to. No, they just remained unaudited.
Interesting. I would like to see the footage of the plane that you have, and I guess I'll YouTube it and see if I can find it, of the first responders. But I ask you to look and try to find the footage of the Pentagon, the camera that was actually on the building.
Yeah, there's footage. There's
Because
footage
there's
of
no
the Pentagon
plane.
being hit.
It's like
But, right,
3
but
or
why
4
would they need?
frames.
Why would
And
the
there's no
government
plane.
need to? Why would the government need to shoot a missile into the building? Why?
Unknown.
Right, you see, that's the whole point. Is like you don't have an answer for that because it doesn't make any sense. What the point
Why would
is
the
of shooting a
government want to
missile at the
control
building
our
versus a
weather?
plane? They don't.
HARP.
HARP is again another conspiracy theory, but we were talking about the towers.
Well, we were talking about is why the government
But
would want to do that.
HARP
There's no answer.
HARP is just shooting radio waves off the ionosphere. It's just a conspiracy theory. That's it. There's no basis in reality.
So when
Radio waves
Texas
are not
wanted
destructive.
to decide from the
This is
United
just built
States,
off people not understanding how radio waves work. What?
when Texas wanted to break away from the United States, they, weeks later, it might have been days later, I really can't remember, it was a few years ago, got a very, very bad snowstorm, and what it caused was all the pipes inside the houses to break, bust, and all the houses to flood. And it caused the state of Texas to have to get some kind of reimbursement
What?
from the
Wait.
federal government.
What do you mean they were
pay for all
trying to
the
break from the
damages.
U.S.? In what capacity?
They were trying to pass legislation so they would become their own, I guess,
But they
country.
can't anyway.
No, they weren't.
They can't
They
anyway.
were.
They literally court. No, Texas already had a court case called Texas v. White. After the Civil War, that said they can't leave unless the United States government agrees.
They were trying to pass legislation. I believe it was 20.
But it doesn't matter. The legislation wouldn't matter. Natalie said, "Ask him what he thinks about the Titanic on 9/11." For those of you just joining us, there was a video of a 9/11 Titanic conspiracy that we put out a number of months ago on the channel. It was pretty funny. Oh, he left. Okay. The government got him.
Things were getting too real for him.
He said too much. You know, this is a true story before I end the live here. There was the torture report that was released by the CIA, and this is a god-honest true story. It was a bit scary. They released the torture report. I was reading it on my couch, and this was like, so it wasn't the original torture report. Like there was the Pineda report. Was that his name? The general from the... Anyways, there was another one they released. They were trying to figure out how to make people tell the truth, find a truth serum with these guys that were part of Al-Qaeda. And I'm sitting there reading through what they were doing. I got into like, I can't remember how far in. My phone pops up a little thing that's like, your Wi-Fi, or it's like, your cellular has been shut off. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is like the day of. I'm like,
Oh.
so I had to like scroll down and turn it back on. I was like, I see you fuckers watching. You know? If a hidden camera had been there, it would have been weird. I'd been like, fuck you, government. That's a true story though. Yeah, just shut off. I was like, what the fuck? Never had it happen. Never had it happen before. I think it happened a few days later, but I was right around the time and I haven't had it happen since. So I don't know.